Every sunrise feels like gold. Another story to be told. These are the days we'll remember, the moments we'll treasure.
I push record, the sun almost always comes out. And so I will go with it. But that's something that I've been noticing is even though my life is amazing, I have a lake, I have a home in the city, I have a dog, I get to walk. I get to walk every single day, who takes me out into nature and shows me how to slow down, how to observe nature with actually different eyes than I have in the past. And I am a nature girl at heart. Life is really good. My mornings are slow. I get to slowly sip on a cup of coffee. But there's something brewing underneath all of this, and I don't think I'm alone. I think there are a lot of people in midlife who get to that point when something just doesn't fit anymore. You've created a beautiful life, hence the one I just explained to you, and you know there's more. There's, for me at least, there's a certain risk I want to take. There's a certain part of life that I haven't allowed myself to have. There's things I still want and need to do. And I've begun to really realize that the gratitude for my life isn't the same as my desire for my life. And I don't think we wake up one day and suddenly feel like there's more to life, something is off. I think it happens little by little. This doesn't mean anything is wrong. This doesn't mean anything is bad. But you desire something that you haven't had or allowed yourself to have. You haven't allowed yourself maybe to live your own life, and you've lived it for everybody else. Maybe there is a more ecstatic life. You can feel it in your bones, but you won't let yourself have it. There's something in me that feels that. And I know that I didn't feel this when I woke up this morning. I did feel this when I woke up this morning, and I have been feeling it for a little while. Yet I'm a little uncertain what to do with it, because there's a lot of uncertainty in that, right? Because when we decide we're going to make a change to our life, it's going to shake some things up. There is going to be some uncertainty, and people are going to wonder what you're doing, why you're doing it. And most often, the conditioning in people is such that she must be unhappy. That isn't true for me. I have an amazing life, as I said earlier, and I'm not shaking my life up because I'm not happy. I'm shaking it up because the ordinary life, the status quo that I've fallen into, just doesn't fit anymore. It just isn't the way I want it to continue to go. Yeah, it brings up a little fear. It brings up uncertainty. I worry a little bit about what my family will think. my friends will think. But aren't we here to live our life fully, with desire, with ecstatic joy, with abundance? And isn't it up to us to fully live into that and not at anyone's expense? But yes, change. Yes, a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit of fear. I think if you're a woman in midlife or in menopause, I think you probably know what I'm talking about, and you have either maybe ignored it, or you too aren't sure what to do with it, because it requires courage. It requires change, and change can feel uncomfortable. And in the rest of this video, I'm going to share how uncomfortable I am willing to be and where I am going. It's time. It's time. I'm over halfway through my life. I can no longer hold this off, can hold this back. I can no longer be who I am becoming fully, without apology. I can no longer fully love my life, fully love who I am, fully love the people in my life, my friends, my husband, my children, if I don't first fully honor me, my desires, my life, where I'm going, what I want to do.
Every sunrise feels like gold. Another story to be told. These are the days we'll remember, the moments we'll treasure. Oh, could this get any better? See the beauty all around. There's always wonder to be found. In this world full of color, we'll journey together. Oh, could this get any better? Sunny days, summer nights, soaking in this twilight. Tell me, could this get any better? Open skies, open roads, every mile a new unknown. Tell me, could this get any better? This beautiful life, what a beautiful life. Come with me, we'll chase the light. Let our wild hearts be the guide. These are the days we'll remember, the moments we'll treasure. Oh, could this get any better?
So yesterday I shared with you that I feel like I really have a beautiful life, and I have both a lake home and a home in the city. And I do travel back and forth to those quite often because I am by myself a lot. Myself and my dog and my cat. Because my husband works quite a bit yet. He's getting close to retirement, but he's not there, not yet. Anyway, so sometimes I think I should make traveling videos, which, stay tuned. That really lights me up. Anyway, so here we are traveling, and I am driving, so I will have my eyes on the road. But yesterday I left off saying, or sharing, I should say, some of the things that I have been A, thinking about, and B, starting to be more aware of, more conscious of. if I want to live a more intentional life this second half, first of all, I think it is somewhat easier. And here's what I mean by that. Of course, as we get older, our careers either slow down or we retire from them. Although my career of leading retreats for women in midlife is just getting fired up, so isn't that interesting? But I see it as fulfilling, exciting. I think mostly because of how I feel about my life. I want to create a community of women who want that same thing, and B, relationships. So let's talk about relationships, because one of the things I've been really thinking about is intimacy. And I don't mean just with a partner, although I also mean that. But I'm not going to speak much about that today. I hope to in another video, because that's a very interesting topic, especially as you go through menopause. Anyway, I mean intimacy with your life. Now, what I've noticed, well, let me define what I mean by that first. Intimacy with our life means, of course, deeper presence, deeper awareness, and it's almost a moment or a time to sort of zoom out at your life and ask yourself, deeper questions like, do I ever pause and just listen to the birds? For me, a big question is, I have been in the world of a flower business for about, this would be year 7, although this year is first year I'm doing less. I'm just doing flower bars on request. Before it was very transactional. Plant the seeds, tend to them, nurture them, grow them in rows, and it just felt, again, very transactional, almost institutional. And it was fine. I love doing it. I love flowers. I love growing plants, period. But as I've decided to back away from that a little bit, I've started to notice my awareness of them. I always needed to pay attention to how each individual flower wanted to live its life. But when I let go of trying to control that so much, even trying to control every weed that grew in my garden, some of them are literally beautiful. We call weeds, I call plants, I call medicine. And that's the thing. How can we become more intimate by slowing down and really loving what's growing around us and being curious instead of attacking it or judging it or trying to kill it, all of it, right? And we could really talk about, because I live in the upper Midwest, we could really talk about farming and how I was just having a conversation with an older gentleman who used to be a farmer, and I was talking about gardening and how I've sort of let go of trying to kill or pick every weed. And he's like, when I was a farmer and I would be out planting or harvesting, there was so much life in my field. And you just don't see that anymore because we spray everything. And then guess what? You and I get to be part of that life that eats it. Again, another topic. But when I become more intimate with my life, I become more intimate with the foods I eat as well. Even the relationships I have with other people. And here, I think, is a really big topic for me, because there has been a part of me that has felt sort of frustrated with some of my friendships, because at some level I expected them to be, or to grow, or to change, or to blossom into who I feel like I've really become. And, you know, honestly, I have a lot more friends that are 10, 15 years younger than I am. And I start to realize, like, oh, I've expected them to be who they were and not allowed myself to accept who they are and who they are becoming. That was very humbling. Of course, that doesn't mean that some friendships will fall away because of that, and not because that they're bad or they're wrong. It's just the seasons of life that I think we're in. So this is one of the things that I've really been thinking about, is intimacy with life. Instead of calling everything wrong, right, bad, good, what if I paused for a moment and allowed myself to just let life be a bit more erotic instead of judging everything? What if I really paid attention to what lights me up and open to that, instead of think, I can't have that, that'll never happen, what will other people think? You know, that is so the direction I'm going. And, you know, I don't want this video to be about my retreats, but I cannot not include that, because it's a really big part of my life right now. And yep, I'm on a bumpy road, right? Anyway, when I've led retreats in the past, you know, I followed recommendations, because many years ago I took a very intense retreat program. So I'm like, I really want to make sure that, you know, I have all the insurance, I have all the you know, all the things legally that I needed to have. And I wanted to protect myself, and I want to protect the participants. You know, so even though I don't really talk about this very often, I went on to become a travel agent. And I, you know, got all the insurance, and I got everything I needed to really hold a legal retreat. Yay. And that's all fine and good. But what matters is what happens at the retreat, where it happens at some level. And I don't feel the desire any longer to just follow a program. I have been in the world of spiritualism and personal growth for a very long time. It was the one passion I had in yoga when I was teaching yoga. But not that I have any judgment for that, and I'm still wide open to the world beyond. But I have expanded more, grown deeper, feel less pressure, more self-trust, more confident when I allowed myself to love my mistakes, to love my hair going gray. I know it looks blonde. And you know, my hairdresser is taking it through this process that I'm doing a whole video on because, man, that itself has been a journey for me. Anyway, but what does life look like when we love our mistakes and realize that A, everyone else has them, B, they actually contribute to my life. Instead of feeling shame or guilt around the things you have done. Now, I'm not promoting to go out and intentionally, hurt someone. But I am saying to forgive your mistakes. Like soulfully, deeply forgive them. And drop the fucking shame and the passive aggressiveness and trying to pretend that those emotions don't exist within you. I think they are a part of life. I think they are part of growth. I'm surrounded by those emotions in my family. And it just reminds me more and more every day how instead of victimizing or really simply just calling them good or bad, like what if I owned them? And the moment I even say that right now, when I own those emotions, they open something in me. They certainly relax something in me. So my whole point here is that learning to have intimacy with our life isn't just solely a practice all in itself. It is also about opening. It is also about arousal with life. It is also about loving, trusting myself more than I ever have. And there's a deeper acceptance of who I really am and what I really want and how I want my retreats to be uniquely mine. Hey, this is the future Darcy editing this video, which I've been literally working on all week in fits and starts. Is that the proper way to say that? So I hoped to have this out by Tuesday, but here we are, Saturday, and I'm sitting outside on a super hot day editing, which actually is quite beautiful because I've got a fan on me and an umbrella over my head. Anyway, this video, or this portion of the video, I seem to have lost. So I'm doing this impromptu. So I left off last with, what I've decided to do different. And here is what I want to share with you. This isn't big and dramatic, but it works. And I think that probably not being big and dramatic is the point. So what I decided to do this week is every time I noticed myself rushing, right? The to-do list can be incredibly long. And I noticed that I put that upon myself. I'm not sure that I always need to be doing what I think I need to be doing. And I probably create a longer to-do list than is even possible to get done during the day. So this was the perfect practice. And that was that every time I noticed myself rushing or adding more to the to-do list, I stopped. And I asked myself, how would I experience this if I wasn't simply trying to just get through it? And I would just enjoy the experience. So, walking Mac, hanging out down in the water on the dock, folding clothes, all of those things. Baking bread, which I've been doing a lot of, which is a super hot job to do this time of the year. Tasting my coffee, tasting my tea every day. So what I noticed is what I started to do, what I noticed when I paused is literally I would stop and ask myself, what is the rush and where am I going? So it meant standing in the garden a little bit longer. It meant caring a little bit more how my towels were folded, not to just get them folded and stuck in the closet. It felt almost insignificant sometimes to do these things. But something unexpected happened. I realized that, and at some level I knew this, that I'm not looking for a different life. And I know that I'm not. But I am looking for a different relationship with the life I already have. And that is the point I want to make that I think is so important. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that we give up ourselves, which can be a prominent practice for a lot of women. But I paid attention to the quiet ways that I speak to myself, which is huge. And I have a small journal I carry with me that I'm actually going to put a link to below, because it was profound to take notes every time I noticed how I was speaking to myself. The small, almost invisible moments when I dismissed myself or I rushed past my own needs, or quietly undermined what I know to be true and not be a stand for it. And I noticed, so I'm reading my notes because I had to write these things down, as I told you I did. And I noticed how I often interrupt my own instincts. And this very moment was actually what provoked next week's video. So I hope you'll be back for that. How I quickly questioned myself. When I decided something, I would stop and question myself. And I don't think I needed to do that. How I easily slip into criticism instead of curiosity. So I began to wonder, what would it feel like to be more honest, and as I spoke of earlier, to be more intimate with myself and all parts of myself, to be more present and aware, willing to notice. And I wonder if this is why so many women feel restless at this stage in their life. Is it why I feel restless occasionally? It truly gave me insight to this restlessness. And here's what else I wrote. Because we have forgotten there are parts of ourselves beyond the roles we play, and we've carried for years. Just maybe that is what this season of life is inviting us in to discover. How do we attach to the roles that no longer fit us or that we would like to reshape. And I'm not sure that that means you eliminate the roles, but I think you can drop one and pick up another, as long as you are completely aware that you are picking up a role and not letting it be who you are, which is, I think, what happens so much when we're in the thick of life. Okay, and so one last thing that I would like to share with you. Yes, I'm in the house now. A, it's so hot outside, and B, I am baking bread. I'm baking sourdough bread and pizza. So the timer went off. I had to come in and take it out. Maybe if I'm still chatting. Well, first of all, I'll just show you my pizza dough when I'm all done here. I just wanted to share one more thing that I've been thinking about, because I know that I have felt this, and sometimes I think that it still comes up. For sure, it still comes up. And I think it comes up for a lot of people. I don't think I'm alone here. And I don't think you have to be in midlife to feel this either. But I wonder if, especially at midlife, we get to a point where I don't know if we want another accomplishment. Maybe we're longing to be witnessed, to be seen. And not because we've achieved something extraordinary. I'm not saying that I don't think women want that at this point in their life. But I wonder if we don't want it just for ourselves, right? And in a way of self-expression and a way of serving the world, instead of look at me type of thing or feeling. As the years go by, I wonder how often women in midlife can really shake off being seen, but at the same time, there is a longing to be seen, right? And I think this is often why women choose to not let their hair go gray, or they choose to continue to be obsessed about their weight instead of health. Multiple reasons that I think we continue to have this deep desire to feel seen. And I think there's a point when we're ready to let it go too, and just be who we are unapologetically. And this is so why I create my retreats. Not to fix you, not to transform your life, although if that happens, bonus. But to create space, create experiences. And not that we don't do any talking. And yes, we do journaling. And yes, we're going to go hiking on my fall retreat coming up. I think it's important to share meals and have conversation and wake up slowly and sip on our coffee and walk outside in our pajamas. Whatever lights you up. I want to create space for that, because I think that's really important. I want every woman to feel seen, witnessed, and welcomed. And of course, to belong without feeling like they've had to earn their place there. So let me go grab the pizza dough and show you my favorite hobby. Okay, so this is just like an add-on. But often at the beginning of every week, I make a huge batch of sourdough dough, because I have a sourdough starter both at our lake home here and in the city where I live. So I'm making sourdough bread almost all the time. And I do it and give it away. And this fall, I'm going to start selling it along with my focaccia, which I'm super excited about, because I have loved this little hobby. And so when I make this big batch, I just make it and I put it in the fridge and I just let it ferment. And that's exactly what's happening with sourdough. And the longer you let it ferment, the less first of all, the deeper the flavor and the less I think it starts to break down the sugars, if I remember correctly. And so it doesn't have quite the effect on your blood sugar. And it's just so versatile. So one of the things I do with that batch is I make pizza dough. I have bread in the oven. I know you can't see it, but it's in there. I heard the beeper, so I had to come take the lid off. But let me show you the pizza dough. So about noon, I put my pizza dough in this pan, and I have it covered, so of course it doesn't dry out. And at first it's cold, of course, when it comes out of the fridge. So I put it in the pan, I stretch it out wherever it's willing to go. I don't force it, I just let it stretch. And then I cover it with saran wrap and I keep it somewhere at room temperature, covered so it doesn't dry out. And then after about 2 hours, I poke it. And then it'll spread out. It'll just do anything you want it to because it's soft and relaxed. And then I cover it again. And whenever I'm ready to make pizza, especially when it's warm and humid out, I really need to only give it about 2 hours. I don't need to give it much more time than that. But next what I will do is put all my toppings on it, throw it in the oven at pretty high heat. You want to bake it at 450. It doesn't even take very long. And it's wonderful. Sometimes I sprinkle on a little bit of salt on the crust before I put even the sauce, the pizza sauce on it. So anyway, that's just a little side note. One of my little hobbies that I just absolutely love doing. This, of course, could even be focaccia if I wanted it to be, and it would taste amazing. It would just have different flavors, just like it would for pizza. So that's kind of what I do behind the scenes, and I'm pretty proud of it. I've been at it for 2 years, and I have baked sourdough in, I bet, 24 ways, and continue to explore ways that I can make it. Okay, that's what I have for now. So this video is about to come to an end. I hope you'll stay with me for next week. I had a very interesting experience this week, and I learned something new about myself, and I can't wait to share it with you. And I get really curious if it is something that you see in yourself. Okay, until next week. Mwah.
In this world full of color, we'll journey together. Oh, could this get any better? Sunny days, summer nights, soaking in this wildlife. Tell me, could this get any better? Open skies, open roads, every mile a new unknown. Tell me, could this get